Now I know what some of you are thinking. Where the hell is Salvage Steel? The answer is I scrapped it.
Know your fucking place, trash. Fucking robots.
Honestly, I never really liked that game, and the idea of salvaging parts off the ground to heal yourself and upgrade your own mech sounded cool on paper, but in reality it was pretty tedious, and it didn't really make for good game design. And to top it all off, the code base for that game was pretty complicated as well. So with that being said, I did the most logical thing any sane game dev would do in this situation and decided to work on a new game called Scurvy, which is roughly 4 times more complex. What the hell is a Scurvy, I hear you ask? Scurvy is my dream roguelike strategy RPG pirate game thing that I came out with in the year of our Lord 2020. I made several prototypes of it in Game Maker Studio 2, but those prototypes never really got off the ground because Game Maker, well, it sucks. Then a couple of years later, I tried to get in Godot, but I was still pretty new to the engine, so the project never really went anywhere. After toiling away in college, learning Unity for the last several years, I'm now in a position where I'm confident enough to embark on a project as large and complex as Scurvy for my game production class. So I started up a new Unity project, and immediately I ran into a problem. How will ship combat actually work? Originally, I'd always envisioned Scurvy being similar to this game called FTL, which is an acronym for Faster Than Light, where the ships are static and they don't actually move, and you just move your guys around on your ship, manning various task stations. The problem though is that a pirate reskin of FTL already exists, called Abandoned Ship, so my idea was already taken, and I would just end up making a copy of a copy, which isn't exactly ideal. So I went back to the drawing board and remembered another pirate game I used to play on my iPad as a kid called Sid Meier's Pirates. In Sid Meier's Pirates, you actually get to move your ship around and outmaneuver your opponent, which makes for really interesting combat scenarios. But you don't get to micromanage your ship and get emotionally attached to your crew like you do in Abandoned Ship. So that's when I had the 200 quadrillion IQ idea of combining the management aspects of FTL and Abandoned Ship with the freedom of movement from Sid Meier's Pirates to create the ultimate pirate game. Unity's nav mesh system was never really designed to work that well with moving navigation meshes, so I ran into quite a few issues where the crewmate would slide around on the ship, as well as some other weird stuff. I eventually got it working by adding the nav agent's velocity to the ship's velocity and parenting the crewmate's nav destination to the ship, as well as updating the destination position every frame, so that way if the ship moves, the destination updates with it. I then shifted my attention to the next important thing, which were the task stations. In order for certain functions on the ship to work, such as the sails and the steering wheel, you need to have a crewmate assigned to them, and implementing this was pretty easy. All I did was create a station prefab with a trigger collision area, and then attach it to a task model. And then when a crewmate enters this invisible area, a signal is sent from that task station that enables the functionality of that task. Now that I had a robust ship and crew system working, I started working on the game loop. The game loop is pretty simple. Basically, you have this treasure map that leads you to the final boss. That doesn't exist yet. Each tile on the map is a combat encounter with a random set of enemies, and whenever you kill an enemy, they drop a random item that you can add to your inventory if you get close enough to it and pick it up. And after 5 encounters, you land at a port where you can buy items and upgrades for your ship. The inventory originally started out as a Resident Evil style system, but it was way too buggy and complicated, so I scrapped it and used a far simpler Skyrim-style vertical scroll menu instead, with each item having a size value that takes up storage space on your ship. Right now I only have a handful of items and upgrades. I have limited use items such as cannonballs and repair kits, as well as upgrade items like the magic sail and cursed medallion that apply buffs and debuffs to certain stats, as long as the items are equipped. Next I focused on the game's art style. I made models for the cannons, hull, steering wheel, and sails. I went for a stylized low poly art style because 1, I'm not a good 3D artist, and 2, it's pretty easy to make. And also I made scenes for the main menu and item shop. I also used Unity's shader graph system to make this awesome stylized water shader, and then I added some sound effects and music from Freesound and Ownbit Game Art. Lastly, I made this enemy ship. How it works is it has 2 states, a chase state and an attack state. The ship will follow you in the chase state, and then once it reaches a certain distance from you, it will transition into the attack state. Once it's in the attack state, it uses the cross product function to get the angle the player is at relative to the ship, and then rotates its closest side towards the player to attack in a broadside attack. Unlike Salvage Steel, I'm actually going to keep working on this game long term. I've always wanted to make this game for the longest time, and I'm really happy with the product I have right now. It's a solid and scalable foundation to build off, and it has tons of potential, and I can't wait to see where I go next with this project. If you guys want me to add anything to the game, let me know in the comments section, and you can also play the demo right now. The link for it is in the description. And if you could help out the channel by liking and subscribing, that would mean the world to me as well. Thanks.